Good afternoon, everybody. It's Craig Smith second here, with an extra edition of Let's Draw on Something. Like the title says, leave these damn title on places alone, and I'm gonna tell you why. This Missouri man paid $50,000 in interest after taking $2,500 in payday loans. And it says here, small payday loans are touted as quick, short-term access to money, but people like Elliot Clark of Kansas City, Missouri, call them debt traps. A retired and disabled Marine, Clark still has a hard time talking about the more than 5 years in which he says he struggled to pay $50,000 in interest, which began with $2,500 of these loans, sometimes called cat quote unquote cash advances or check loans. He said it was hard for me to talk about it without breaking down in tears. If you're a man, you take care of your family. If I had another choice, I would have taken it. I wouldn't have gotten in that situation at the time. Clark's road to payday loans began in 2003 when his wife slipped on ice and broke her ankle, which required surgery to restructure it. His wife, a retail employee, was unable to work for several months. Clark had said, and was ineligible for benefits from her employer. With two daughters to help support through college, Clark couldn't pay his wife's medical bills, which he had totaled $26,000. He turned to his family and friends, but they didn't have the money to lend him. I tried banks and credit unions. My credit was fair, but it wasn't enough to get a large sum of money to pay the money, he said, noting his credit score at the time was noting his credit score of 610. A credit score of more than 750 is typically described as excellent. Clark said he eventually took out five $500 loans from local storefront lenders, and he paid interest every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, $475 in interest was due, $95 from each loan, and he would often take out new loans to cover the old ones. Eventually, through a range of jobs such as working in pest control and as a corrections officer, he was able to pay off the debt. I did this constantly for 5.5 years. It took its toll. We ended up losing our home. We lost our car. We moved finally in 2010, and now we're paying rent. Last month, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau Director Richard Condrey said the agency is continuing to prepare new regulations in the online payday loan market. On June 2nd, the CFPB is hosting a hearing in Kansas City about small dollar lending. Some payday lenders are said to charge as much as 700%, according to Kansas City Star. Well, before I continue, if you got a title loan, who's my watcher? Come on with a super chat. If you got a title loan, leave. Hurry up and pay it. If you're doing a payday advance loan with the check, hurry up and pay it. Okay, just hurry up and pay it straight up, because that shit hurt you in the long run. Because I was talking about that with shout out to Jim, shout out to Jimmy J Smooth. We talked about it before we went live on Let's Draw on Something last night. Um, a mutual friend of ours, he had and one listen. We told him to leave it alone. He had to learn the fucking hard way. I know a young lady. Shit, and she paid off one title loan and turn around. She buys her a new car and then gets a title loan off of that one. How crazy, what the fuck? How crazy is that shit? So if you getting a title loan, if you're thinking about getting a title loan, here's my good advice: don't. Because just like what this dude did here, he took a gamble. He had to do what he had to do. True enough. But he messed around and lost his house. He'd worked hard for. Now he's paying rent on the house. Lost his car and everything. If you feel you need a title loan, don't get a title loan. Don't get a check advance. That's why everybody, and really, and Jimmy has said it best. You have to question somebody's mental psyche. You know, you got to I question their mentality. What is in their head? Have I did a title loan before? No. Have I did a payday advance? Yes. When I didn't have the money, I would pay the interest. And when I did have the money to go ahead and pay it up, hey, I went in here and knocked him out, paid him in full. Excuse me for a second. So it's not worth it. It is not getting a title loan is not worth it. If you feel the need, you gotta get one. Don't. You better work. Like I said on my Instagram when I was doing the drawing, and you can find that drawing on the IGTV part. Just type in my name, search IGTV, Craig 1478 in Instagram. Um, if you need the money, work. However, if you are gonna get a title loan, get that shit as a short term fix. Let me get it in the long run. Don't use it. Don't use it as a dependency or as a crutch. If you out here working, work your ass off. Set some money aside. You know, everybody all got guilty pleasures. You know, I was telling my cousin the other day, we were talking. My problem, and I'm gonna be honest with you about with me. My problem with money is I spend it. And when I have a habit of overspending sometimes, most of the time. But if I can make it last till the next payday, I do that. But if you got to feel the need, you got to get a damn title loan. And if you want to be, if you want to mess around and don't be like this guy that he lost a house he worked for and lost his car and car and everything. Now they paying rent of the house and such. If you want to end up being like that, or when you get a title loan, you want to mess around and have several cars taken away from your ass or whatnot. That's you. But I highly recommend you don't do it. And then that's a perfect example right there. He was paying back all on interest, $50,000 total. And as they said in the song Good Times, it's an easy credit ripoff. Let me continue. Um, he said now that Clark has paid off the loans, he is an activist who calls for a cap on the interest rate for payday loans. As first reported in the Kansas City Star, he calls for a cap of 36%. A national organization for payday lenders, the Community Financial Services Association of America, argues against a cap on payday loan interest rates. Amy Cantu, spokeswoman for the association, points out that the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act precludes the CFPB from setting a rate cap on payday loans. She argues that price fixing almost always results in reduced consumers' access to any product. In states that have instituted a 36% rate cap on payday and other short-term loans, lenders were forced to close hundreds of stores, costing thousands of employees their jobs and leaving consumers with few credit options. But to go ahead and say it best, Clark said it best. The payday loan is a debt trap. It's a spiraling cycle that takes you down to nothing. Like I lost everything. He basically just said what I'm telling everyone. Don't fucking get a damn title loan. Don't be like me and Jimmy's friend who lost his car with one and then he had almost lost another one. I don't know about that one. Or don't be like my other friend who she took years paying off one, then turn around, buy a new car, and get a title loan off of this one. Now that's pet coon shit, goofy and insane what she did. Don't do it. And like Mr. Clark said, the payday loan is a death trap, and it's a spiraling cycle that takes you down to nothing. Like he lost everything. You're gonna fuck around and lose everything. Fuck with these payday loans. Don't do it. You out here working, work for that shit. That's all I got to say on that. The pleasure's been all yours.